business in the 90s was booming. I mean, it was a free for all. I mean, principals were hiring at a fast pace. Lines were coming fast and easy. Sales were growing 15, 20, 25%. It was a great time. Um, and
Why do you think that was?
well, the economy was good for one. I
Okay.
think if you look at the food service business, there was a ton of expansion. I think back in the day, and I don't have the percent, but there was always this percent. Retail sales were so much 70% food service, and people were going out. There was the working women. There were everybody was working. People were eating out all the time. Restaurants were
Sure.
expanding, not only independents but chains. It was just an incredible time. I mean, it was a great time, but with that, manufacturers were trying to keep up with it, and one of the things that was hard to do was you know produce new products. And we had, I think one of the things that was key to us, we had specialists, and this is something that Carl had started, but we had specialists in the chain end, K-12, the school side, non-commercial,
Sure.
and this was this,
Hmm.
this was a kind of a real plus for us because it gave us expertise, and we had people that were focused in that particular area. And when they were working with their customers, the relationships that they built were phenomenal. And it wasn't only from
Hmm.
a sales side, but there was a lot of product development, menu development. And I know there's a lot of cases where customers, I'm talking about the operator customer today, would suggest to the manufacturer, can you do
Hmm.
this product? Can you make this particular type of product? And so that was exciting. And I think that those days lasted probably until, of course, the early 2000s when we got into some tough times with the economy and whatever. Um, and I'm looking at a couple of things because I, the also during that time there was lines that were coming, and because of the people we hired, um, there were some key lines, and I think everybody in the brokerage business wants to have the full portfolio. Whether it's
Of
protein
course.
and starch and desserts and all that. And we always had some voids. I think there were voids all the time, but we had a great ability to go after principals that we needed, and in some cases we would actually hire them. In fact, you have an employee that
Sure.
today that, thanks to Con, we were able to pick up Simplot, which was a very large potato line, and one of the dominant
Hmm.
potato companies in the country. So we were very,
Hmm.
that was very satisfying for us. The other thing I was going to mention during that time was Carl. As far as learning and best practices, we were members of the food service group, and back then, Food Service Group was one of those national broker networks. And it's funny because they had a product called FoodCom, which today, if you look at technology, it was probably as ancient as it could be. But it helped us, and we shared ideas. We were able to meet a couple times a year and obviously talk on the phone. But we always talked about best practices, and that's something that Carl preached, was how do we improve ourselves? He probably had the best
Definitely.
technology platform. And I say we, Food Sales West at the time, we sold it. We actually sold the technology to other brokers. That's how good it was. And it kind of led the charge because it was all about information. And the more information we could provide, not only our manufacturers, but working with our distributors and operators, what a benefit that was. And I think that was a key to his
Oh,
success and key to Food Sales West. And that technology today has just gone, expanded dramatically. And every there's not one company that can be successful without a good
hmm.
technology base. So,
Definitely.
yeah, and I think that the other thing was, as far as lines coming and going, we did have one. I call it a kind of a kick in the what. But during that same time, there was a company, Quaker Oats Tropicana, that became part of PepsiCo. And at the time, they
Hmm.
represented probably about 14% of our revenue. And we got the call
Wow.
yeah, a significant amount of revenue. And anytime you talk in any revenue loss is significant, but that was very significant. And they made a decision to go direct. PepsiCo was a direct sales company. And so when we heard the news, obviously we were shocked, but we huddled up and we decided, we're going to get through this. We didn't let anybody go during
Sure.
that time. We kept everybody on board. We might have cut some salaries at the higher level, if I recall, but at the same time, we said, you know what, we're going to do our best. We're going to do everything we can. We got to work together as a team to get this revenue back. And within 12 months, less than 12 months, we had replaced that revenue.